How COVID-19 changed our lives. The COVID-19 epidemic has claimed a large number of lives around the world and poses a significant threat to public health, food systems, and the workplace. The pandemic's economic and social impact is devastating. Tens of millions of people are at risk of falling into extreme poverty, and the number of people who are undernourished, which is presently estimated to be around 690 million, might rise to 132 million by the end of the year. As a student, COVID-19 had wreaked havoc on my studies. The same can be said to other students. We are currently facing a struggle between avoiding COVID and maintaining our academics. Many of the measures taken by the region's countries in response to the crisis in education are related to the suspension of face-to-face classes at all levels, which has resulted in three main areas of action: the deployment of distance learning modalities through a variety of formats and platforms, with or without the use of technology, support and mobilization of education personnel and communities, and concern for the health and overall well-being of the region's citizens. From the way we learn to the methods of staying in shape, we can really see the damage that this pandemic has done in our daily lives. Whether you're rich or poor, everybody still faces different challenge but with the same cause of origin. On a student's perspective, we have, as usual, advantages and disadvantages. Let us start with the former. The advantages in how we study are enormous. For one, it's less expensive, meaning that we don't have to pay for travel expenses and we get to learn from the comforts of our home. Most of the topics that we need are already set in place with the help of media platforms. Disadvantages, however, is the lack of discipline. Too much comfort is too much. Laziness is also a problem. It's always around the corner. And of course we all know how painstakingly slow the internet service are, which is a huge disturbance that needs to be dealt with sooner than later. Despite some difficulties, dental students were able to adapt to the new full-day learning techniques, and the majority thought that blended learning, which combines classroom and online learning, should be employed in the future. This current COVID-19 epidemic has a significant impact on not just the use of technology in education, but also future pedagogy tactics, work/job, food security, public health and employment and labor issues, including worker health and safety, all intersect during the COVID-19 crisis. In order to address the human dimension of the issue, employers must follow workplace safety and health practices, as well as provide access to decent work and defend workers' rights across all industries. Now, a year later, it appears that workplace life will never be the same. Working from home has become synonymous with higher-paying jobs for many people. Indeed, the divide between individuals who can work remotely and those who can't is clearly obvious on the streets, especially among lower-wage transportation, health, and retail workers. With offices closed, many canteen and lunch-hour restaurant employees, janitors, and others have lost their jobs entirely. According to Stanford economist Nicholas Bloom, it is a ticking time bomb for inequality. COVID-19 is particularly harmful to countries who are currently coping with humanitarian crises or emergencies. It's vital to respond quickly to the pandemic while also making sure that humanitarian and rehabilitation aid reaches those who need it most. Despite the jarring disruptions, most remote workers believe that when the pandemic is over, they want the freedom to work wherever they want, with many preferring a flexible mix of office and home. That is a significant shift with which businesses will have to contend for many years. Yes, companies will save millions of dollars in utility and office rent. There's also the lost productivity from hours spent in pointless meetings or long commutes. Making WFH permanent, however, could result in a significant loss. Working from home has proven to be difficult for those just starting out in their careers. Face-to-face communication is also important for producing new ideas, according to studies. Gmail, Google News, and Street View all arose from conversations at Google HQ over complimentary gourmet lunches. The coronavirus disease, COVID-19, Pandemic has triggered a worldwide emergency. This emergency has resulted in the widespread shutdown of face-to-face operations of educational institutions in over 190 countries in order to limit the virus's spread and reduce its effects. Let's all keep ourselves positive. Most first-year college students experience something called performance anxiety whether the class is taken online or in person, and this experience is absolutely normal. Concentrate on what you're learning rather than how well you're doing. Eat on schedule and drink plenty of water. To keep focused, you'll need energy. Remember that everyone has the same amount of time in a day. Reflect. Are you occupied or productive? Do the most critical and urgent things first, such as your tasks. Avoid distractions like social media/video games, visiting roommates/social gatherings, and other activities that can be done after group work or assignments. Your assignment deadlines cannot be postponed because of social media. Take a break. Your mind and body are not designed to study for 24 hours. Sleep for 6 to 8 hours is essential. Exercise, physical activity not only keeps you physically fit, but it also helps you sleep better, concentrate better, and feel better. In a world where negative messages are constantly bombarded, you need an antidote to preserve your optimistic attitude and march forward with determination and optimism. Make a conscious effort to engage in activities that are pleasant, heartwarming, stress-relieving, and humorous.